What's going on YouTube? I'm AJ and this is my gun review. Today we're going to be covering the Triarc Systems Tri11, specifically this custom ordered 5-inch. So this gun consists of 5-inch tri-top slide with a bull barrel, short dust cover, steel frame, and a Chile steel grip module in the aggressive texture pattern. On top of that, this gun was also sent over to Vulcan Machine Works, where they did a trigger job, bring the trigger pull down to about 1 3/4 pounds, and it also got a Marvel disconnector cut. And to top it all off, this gun's been finished in a oil rubbed bronze PVD coating that I've never seen before, but really looks cool. Now, Triarch is an interesting one in the 2011 market space. Initially, they came in towards the tactical end of the market as a upscale staccato competitor. And things were going well enough for them until Joe Chambers did a review on one of their guns. Now, I have the backstory of that gun, and as best I could tell, the review was honest, but that gun never should have left the factory. And the result of the review was Joe Chambers spending several months hiding and avoiding phone calls from the owner of Triarch. Now, the unfortunate side of a circumstance like that is it really did a number to Triarch's reputation in the 2011 space. That, piled on with problems filling orders and overextended lead times, kind of destroyed the demand for the product. Now, cap that off further with the fact that most of the early Triarch examples that I sampled were fairly loose-fit guns. And considering they were being touted against staccato, not only were they not a notably better product than staccato, but during that time frame, I don't even think they were their equal. Now, over the last couple of years, I've had the opportunity to sample a couple more Triarch examples, and I've actually been pretty pleased with the product. The overall fit has been a lot better. The triggers have been pretty nice. They traditionally use EGW internals with Atlas trigger shoes, and usually in a polymer grip module format, which tends to be my preference. I think aesthetically, their guns have a very cool utilitarian look to them, and from what I've heard, they seem to be getting on the right track. So, with that said, let's take this over the tabletop, get a closer look at what you're getting for your money with Triarch.
All right, so Triarch Tri11 5-inch. So we have a 5-inch barrel, tri-topped slide, a big thick bull barrel with a full-length guide rod. I like how the bull barrel's been crowned. I know a lot of people like the flush cut and reverse crowned barrels. Personally, I find them a little bit played out. I think this one looks like a cannon, which is much cooler. Triarch's signature slide serrations look attractive. They provide good grip. Our backup iron sights, kind of unique for a 2011, are actually night sights. Personally, I don't think it's particularly necessary, but it also doesn't get in the way. I'll also say I like the meaty look of the front of the slide with the short dust cover. The frame, short dust cover, railed, made of steel. Also, take a quick moment to note this oil-rubbed bronze PVD finish. It's wearing a little bit. I think it just looks dynamite. Racking the slide. Very nice action. We have slight side-to-side play up front. Nothing in the back and no up to down. So overall, pretty nice slide to frame fit. Also, there is a Marvel disconnector cut present on this one, courtesy of Vulcan Machine Works. I really like how Triarch does their roll marks. It has a very militaristic appearance. Triarch uses Trigicon's mounting plate. I like the plate design. One, I like how beefy their rear sight looks and how it interfaces in the back. But also, it's angled forward, similar to what Chambers does with the RDSM plate and Sharon Precision plate, tilting the optics slightly forward, giving you kind of a stadium viewing, I find just makes the dot a little bit easier to pick up. Also the co-witness buried nice and low. The slide stop on this is what appears to be the old STI style. We have a slight undercut right there in the paddle, otherwise kind of a modified government design. There is a nice undercut on the frame. Overall, it's an easy piece to use. A little small on the top paddle, but functional. Thumb safety is kind of interesting on this example. So, appears to be an EGW piece, not a lot of blending or dehorning on it. And the way it interfaces with the slide creates almost a short stroke. In function, I don't prefer it, but it's the first time I've come across something like that. And regarding overall feel, there's no slop or play, and the movement's very direct. Moving back, we have no grip safety, just a flush beaver tail. It's well blended from Chile. The ignition parts are from Extreme Engineering, fitted and tuned by Vulcan Machine Works. Moving down, the grip module as well as the magwell are from Chile. This is a steel aggressive texture Chile grip module, which the Chile E2 is ergonomically one of my favorite grip modules. Their aggressive texture is excellent. Note the texture all the way up the front strap. The magwell is not bad. Personally, I don't like the side relief cuts. I find that's a place for the magazine to get hung up on insertion, but I know some people love them. This is also the large hands version, so you have cutout around here just to make it fit a little bit better in the hand, in the palm. Now with the steel grip modules over the aluminum ones, you're getting, I think it's 10 or 12 more ounces in the butt of the gun. So quite a bit more weight. It really changes the overall feel and dynamic of the pistol. But regardless of the configuration, the steel grip is going to ensure a very soft shooting pistol. The mag release, a Chile drilled and tapped piece. It's nicely beveled, properly sprung with no hang-up points. And then on this example, the trigger is going to be the real party piece. So we have an Atlas medium length shoe. It's pretty well fit, no up and down, slight side to side, tuned to about 1 3/4 pounds. So we have a slight take up, very nice break. There's our reset. And beautiful break. Trigger is excellent on this piece. And that is a custom order Triarch Tri11. But does it shoot? Well, yes, but a little bit differently than some of my recent reviews. It's heavy and soft, more of a Cadillac or a Charger Hellcat than some of the super exotics I've recently been shooting. It was comfortable, accurate, and in the static drills like a plate rack or a 5x50, it was an absolute dominator. That said, the weight does take its toll, slowing down draw speed as well as transitions. And though my preference tends to lean towards lightweight, super gassy comped guns, if I was relegated to an indoor range, I'd have a hard time picking anything over something like this. Alright, final thoughts on the Triarch Tri11. So this example, being a custom order, is a bit of a deviation from what you're normally going to get from Triarch. Fortunately, I've sampled one of their more traditional builds in a Commander comp, in which I did a write-up review on over on 1911 Addicts. But regarding this particular gun, it is a very nice, soft shooter with a very cool and unique aesthetic. Firstly, the gun is just heavy. In this configuration, without a light, it's still over 50 ounces. My preference these days tends to be guns that weigh under 40 ounces with a light mounted.
So it's definitely a deviation in that format. That said, the Chile grip feels fantastic, and having that much weight in the grip makes for a very soft shooting gun, though maybe not the fastest transitioning gun. I will say this one was built in my preferred format for a steel gripped gun, which is to have a short dust cover on it, alleviating a little bit of weight that would otherwise be out front, though this one has a very sizable bull barrel on it. I could definitely see where this type of gun would be somebody's preference, especially as a more of a casual range plinker. Although for static type work like a plate rack, the gun is an absolute pleasure to use, especially in this particular configuration where it's paired with a very nice trigger. So, all that said, I'll say I used to hold kind of a negative standpoint towards Triarch, partially due to my Marvel fanboy tendencies. But this gun and the Commander Comp from them that I had previously reviewed have really done quite a lot to ease my judgment on the company. I still don't view them as a replacement for Staccato, but I do think they fill a certain niche in the market, and I think the community is better with them there. So, with that said, please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.